Hello everyone and welcome back to the Successfully Balanced podcast. I'm your host, Aria, and thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to be chatting with you today because today we're talking about how to get results fast. So when you have goals, not just cruising along and achieving them when they happen, but actually achieving them faster than most people even think is possible, and even surprising yourself with how fast you can achieve it. But if you're new here, hello and welcome. This podcast is for the ambitious women with really big goals who want to just go further in life and build something and just do incredible things. This is the podcast for them if they want to achieve really big things, but in a way that doesn't burn them out and they can still enjoy their life in the process. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Aria. And if you do enjoy this podcast, it would be the best thing in the whole world if you could rate it. It literally takes 2 seconds. Just go onto the Spotify homepage of this podcast and finally rate this show button. It literally takes 10 seconds and means the world to me and host this podcast, get reached to even more women, and we can just help even more people. So thank you so much. But I do want to say I am low-key kind of feeling like changing the name of this podcast recently because I feel like Successfully Balanced, it doesn't have that, it doesn't encompass the go furtherness and the breadth of the people that are listening, what they want to achieve. So I did brainstorm some names, so Go Further Club and things like that. I'm not entirely sure. I do want you guys to let me know in the comments, do you have any other name suggestions? Do you like this name? But a community that I started recently is the Go Further Club, and if you're in this community, you'll know that's you. And so I think that just really encompasses the feeling of going further and making big things happen in your life. But today we're talking about how to get results so much faster than you even expected. This is actually a tiny piece of a lesson that I'm currently working on in a course that I'm building called the Momentum Method. And that course is for the women who have that goal they really want to achieve, but feel like they just, no matter how hard they work, they just can't quite reach it yet. And this is the course that teaches you how to get into momentum and how to be more productive and more consistent to achieve your goals way faster. So the waitlist for that is in the description. If you want to sign up, it is launching on April 20th. So if you're signed up on the waitlist before then you'll get early access and a discount when it launches. Also, as I always do, I'd love to talk about a goal that I've been working towards this week and also something I've been doing to be more balanced. So for the goal, I have been touring a content studio, which is really exciting, to potentially do a photo shoot, but that's another thing, but to film some of my content in there. So whether that is podcasts or just my reels, doing that kind of content in a podcast studio, I think, not a podcast studio, just a normal studio, I think that will be so much better quality. And also I've been talking to a photographer to do a personal brand photo shoot because guys, I'm working on my website at the moment and I'm really excited for it to go out there so that you guys can start having a look and, seeing how you want to work together. But I've got a photo shoot coming up in, I think, 2 weeks and I'm so excited for that, but we'll be doing that in that content studio that I toured. And yeah, obviously as well building that productivity course, which I'm so excited to share. But that is a lot of work because obviously first of all, we have to research the modules, write them, script them, record them, edit them, upload them, all of that. So it's a lot of work, but I'm really excited for it because I cannot wait to share all of this with you. And then in terms of balance, you may have noticed from the background, but I'm not at my house right now. I'm currently house sitting with my boyfriend and we are looking after a cat and a dog in a house, and it's been very lovely. And it's also almost our anniversary, so we've been able to just enjoy this time with each other and just have some quality time, which has been lovely. And I also went out for brunch with my friend the other day, which was also really nice. I'm so sorry if my voice is so croaky as well. I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm sick. My ears are really blocked before. I'm so sorry if it sounds a bit raspy, but hopefully the content is still valuable enough that you'll keep listening. So how to get results fast. So this episode is basically about how to collapse time and get more done in less time than what would usually happen in a few years. We're going to do it in a few months. I've used these strategies literally every single time that I wanted to achieve something. So first of all, that was growing to almost 100,000 followers on my Instagram, which is @byariaemily. Also launching my business and becoming an award-winning founder, and also tripling my income. So this applies to literally so many areas. I would even say all areas actually of any area that you want to achieve a goal in. So there's 3 main parts of this. I did actually make a reel on it the other day. So if you watch that reel, you will kind of have a prediction of what I'm going to be talking about here. But the first one is to change up your self-talk. So what I mean by this is don't wish you could achieve something, you decide that you are someone who achieves it. So for example, if you want to run a marathon, you don't say to yourself, oh, I wish I could run marathons. I guess I'll try really hard. I don't know if I can do it. No, we're not doing any of that, okay? That's not going to get you anywhere. But once you decide you are someone who runs marathons, okay? Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm training for a marathon, this is why I'm saying this. I have never run more than 12 kilometers in my life. But other than that, I don't usually really run any more than 5Ks. And also I hate running, just full stop, I hate it. But I don't wake up in the morning and think oh, I wish I could run a marathon, but I guess I'm just not disciplined enough. I'm not motivated enough. I just I don't really know what I'm doing. No, I don't do that. I get up, I go to the gym and I run because that's, and I just decide I'm going to run a marathon this year. That's just a fact. There's no other way. I used to see this a lot when I was working with students, and they would think like, oh, I'm just so bad at maths. Like, I wish I could get good grades for maths, but I guess I'm just not really good at it. And I was like, oh my goodness, stop saying that. You were literally just like manifesting into reality what you're saying in your brain. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is like manifestation techniques, but it's also bloody neuroscience. And so if you're saying to yourself that you wish that you could do something, it tells your brain that you're not currently there. And your brain will always look for like pieces of information in your life to prove that whatever you think is right. So if you say you're not a confident person, when you walk into a room and you might be like, hey, and no one responds to you, that's your brain gathering evidence that you're not confident enough. Whereas if you walk in and you believe that you're a confident person, then you might say, hey, and someone goes, oh, hello, Aria. That's your brain picking up that information to prove that you are confident. And so I'd be working with these students who would think like, oh, I'm really bad at maths. And they come home from a math lesson and just feel like, oh, I didn't really get anything out of it. But as soon as they change their self-talk, they would walk into math class, with the thinking, not necessarily I'm really good at maths, because your brain can't really believe that. It's like, oh, no, you're not. You've got like a 20% on the last test. But even saying to yourself things like, I am going to get better at maths if I try harder, then they would show up to class and try harder and thus get better results. And something else that is really important with this is that, like I sort of aforementioned there, is that you don't have to skip to immediately like going from I can't do this to I've already got this, but actually doing something believable. So thinking of like a 2% shift. What is something 2% better that feels better to you, but is also believable? Because if I said to myself right now, oh yeah, I'm an elite athlete, my brain's like, no, you're not. Like, you haven't competed in sports in like literally years. And so it wouldn't be very believable, and thus it wouldn't work very well. But if I said something more along the lines of, if I run this week, I'm going to be faster than last week, or I will improve every single week, or I am improving every single week, that's believable, because, you can improve. It doesn't matter if you're terrible right now, you can get a little bit better. And so I sort of use that as a bridge to eventually get to that self-talk where it's like, yeah, I am a marathon runner. You know what I'm saying? So don't try and go from 0 to 100 real quick. Go from 0 to 2 to 4 to 6, etc. And just make those tiny little shifts in your self-talk to gently encourage your brain to see more opportunities. Because if you think of it like this, like right now, this camera can see from about here to here. If you're not watching a video, it has a finite range. Now, that is currently all you can see when you have that self-belief. But if I was to move it just 2 centimeters backwards, you can now see more of this room. Like, it went from there to about here, just with that tiny little shift. And if you imagine that's your window of opportunity, and so when you open up the window and you shift things a little bit, you can see so much more, and there's so much more opportunities that can come into your life that you can use to take and achieve your goals. So your one action point that I want you to take away from this part of the episode is to, number one, notice your self-talk. And every time something comes up where it doesn't go in your favor, what are you saying to yourself? So if you walk into a room and people ignore you, what is your reaction? Are you going, oh, I'm just really shy, like I don't know what I'm doing? And take notice of that. What I want you to do is actually start replacing those thoughts with something believable and slightly better than it currently is. So instead of thinking like, oh, I'm terrible, I'm like not confident at all, instead replace it with, the more that I practice social interaction, the better I get at it. And then eventually you would build that up and be like, yeah, I'm a really confident person. I have this experience myself. I used to be incredibly socially awkward. So if you're relating to exactly what I'm saying here, know this, because I've been through that myself as well. And you literally don't need to wait for anything to happen to do this. It does not take any more time than you currently have in the day, because you have these thoughts anyway. You may as well replace them with something more constructive. Okay, number 2, stop taking soft action. I know you don't want to hear this, but constantly refreshing your notifications for if a sale or a new opportunity came through, that will not get you any closer to your income goals or your career goals. But actually putting yourself out there and selling and introducing yourself to people, that will. A lot of the time we convince ourselves that doing those soft action things is productive. So for example, if you think to yourself, you want to start going to the gym more and you want to get more fit, you want to build more muscle, but your current action is looking on Lululemon for different activewear outfits. Like, you can do that, sure, like it's a contributing factor to getting into the gym, because obviously you need something to wear to the gym, but doing that itself is not actually going to get you any more fit, because you're not actually doing the work. And so for example, something that I fall into the trap of recently is actually just checking my sales and seeing like how many sales I've made recently. That isn't getting me any closer to my income goals, but actually putting myself out there and posting on my stories and saying, this product is there, that is going to get me to sell and increase my income, rather than just constantly refreshing Stan Store and Stripe and being like, oh, has anything come through? Because that won't get you anywhere. But when it comes to information, there is a little bit of a gray line here, because yes, it is important to expand your knowledge and listen to podcasts like this one and read books and, educate yourself. But if that's all you're doing, you're not going to get anywhere, because if you're just reading books about how to socially interact, and you're just reading books about how to talk to people, like that's good originally. You need about, 10% of that, but you're going to learn so much more. And it's actually like the most important thing to actually go out there and practice social interaction, because that is the hard action that's going to get you more confident. In a similar way, I think it's really apparent in content creators where we will look at a lot of content creation courses, we'll read a lot of content creation books. Actually, I don't know if those exist because they move so fast, but we will constantly be searching for more information on how to create better content rather than actually just creating the content and failing and making mistakes and learning from them. Because the most fastest way to learn, which I actually didn't really include this in one of these 3 parts of the episode, but the fastest way to learn is literally just to fail fast and learn from it and do better. Because something that I noticed when I first started my podcast, when I first started my first podcast, it's called The Balanced Student if you want to go and look at the archives. When I first started that, my first ever podcast episode was terrible. Like, it was so bad. Like, the video quality was terrible, my script was terrible, I sounded like a robot and not nice. Even now, like, obviously I'm still improving. But I knew that unless I made those terrible ones, I wasn't going to get any better. And so I just had to suck it up and be like, okay, my first 20 episodes are going to look like something a 6-year-old could do. And I just had to kind of get through that initial failing to look at my old episodes, realize, okay, how can I do this better? And then iterate and just do better from that. Because if I had taken 20 podcast courses, like, sure, I may have been like slightly better, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't have gotten me anywhere near where I am now, anywhere near as fast. Also, my camera is on its last leg, so I'm gonna have to like do this episode kind of quick because I don't have a charger with me. But your action point for this part of the episode is actually to do stuff, okay? Stop thinking about it, stop journaling about it. I mean, yes, those things are important, but stop doing the soft action around it. Actually do the hard action that's going to get you there. Okay, part 3 is to make 35K decisions. Now, what I mean by this is that every single day, the human brain makes between 20,000 to 35,000 decisions. And you can choose to do one or two of those decisions every single day to go towards your goals. Or you can make all 35,000 of them count. Because if you imagine, we often think like, oh, there's no chance for me to do this. Like, I don't know how to do this. You have 35,000 individual decisions that you can make every single day to get closer to your goals. For example, if you want to get your body goals, so for example, if you want to build more muscle, you want to lose a bit of fat, you just want to like get more tone, whatever it is that your body goals are, you could choose to just for lunch, choose to have a salad instead of a burger, for example. That's one decision a day. You may get closer to your body goals, but it will take you years at that rate. Or you could choose breakfast, lunch, and dinner to do it healthier with more protein, whatever. And you could also choose your snacks. That's, I don't know how many snacks you have, but that's probably already 7 decisions a day. You're already going to achieve it 7 times faster than if you were to just change your lunch. Now, if you also consider going for a walk in your lunch break at work and doing a couple extra reps at the gym, that's already like 20 decisions in a day that you can make rather than just choosing one decision to just have a different lunch. Now, if you put that together over a long period of time, the person that's making the one decision a day is going to get there so much later and further down the future than the person who makes 20 decisions a day to get towards their goals. So whatever goal you have, obviously 35,000 decisions is like, unrealistic for how many times we can decide things. The point is, every single time that you have a chance to make a decision between where you are now and where you want to be, the more times that you can take the decision to go to where you want to be, the faster you're going to get to where you want to get. And this is the most important thing for accelerating your progress. So your action point for this part of the episode is to make every single one of your decisions count, okay? Every single one. Because doing that, you're going to get there so much faster. I am extremely aware of the charge on this, and I really don't want to go flat and then have to charge it and wait 2 hours. So I hope you enjoyed this episode despite it being quite short. I hope you had the most amazing day. If you did enjoy this episode, please give it a rating on Spotify and give it a subscribe. Give me a subscribe on YouTube, and you can follow me on Instagram at @AriaEmily. I hope you have the most amazing week. Good luck with everything, and you got this. If you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, you're going to get there. DM me on Instagram and tell me something that you took away from this episode, what your goal is, and I will personally congratulate you, okay? I need to end the recording, but yeah, have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.